1940 to 1949. World War II, the first war that killed more civilians than soldiers, dominated the decade. New technology raised the stakes, and for the first time, the world confronted the possibility of its own annihilation. France fell to Germany. By 1940, England, under the helm of Winston Churchill, stood alone against the Nazis.
We shall fight on, unconquerable, until the curse of Hitler is lifted.
Churchill met several times with Franklin Roosevelt to urge the U.S. to help the British war effort. Roosevelt's decision to end the war was forced on him in 1941 when the Japanese unexpectedly attacked Pearl Harbor.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
The whole country marshaled its resources behind the war effort. Women were recruited to work in factories, and Rosie the Riveter was born. The United States carried on a two-front war, fighting the Japanese in the Pacific and the other Axis powers in Europe. By the end of the 1944 D-Day invasion of France and the 1945 Battle of Iwo Jima, the tide had turned for the Allies. The war ended only after the United States dropped atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The atomic age was underway. The end of the war was cause for celebration, and big band music provided the soundtrack. After the war, Americans returned to the national pastime, avidly following the rivalry between Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams. Major League Baseball finally reflected America when African-American Jackie Robinson integrated the sport in 1947. The NATO Pact was signed, and the world was divided between the democracies of the West and the communist countries of the East. The triumph of the Chinese Communist Revolution and Churchill's Iron Curtain speech made it clear the Cold War had begun.
An iron curtain has descended across the continent.